Sharp Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com, off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And I got a question from a subscriber a couple days ago, and they wanted to know, how do I deal with disloyal people and betrayal, and what do I think about love in American society? How do I deal with disloyal people and betrayal, and what do I think about love in American society? And that's a good damn question. This is a topic that I really like talking about, and this is something that I've had to deal with over the past 17 years. I'm gonna tell you what I did, and I'm gonna tell you what worked for me, and it's still working to this day. And first off, when it comes to love in American society, the shit doesn't exist. It really doesn't. I'm gonna tell you why. Because that's first off. The only true love is unconditional love, which automatically happens between parent and child. However, unconditional love is possible that it could happen between man and woman, but that's a process. And most people today don't even make it to that point because of the environment that we're in. Now, today, it's not like how it was when my parents and your parents and our grandparents and great-grandparents, they were married for fucking 9 times out of 10. Your grandparents and your great-grandparents were married for fucking 30, 40, 50 years. But today, it's not like that. The environment doesn't support that. I don't even think they really want that in America today. So this is why love really doesn't exist between man and woman today. What you have today is what some people call, I heard somebody say, you have emotional contracts. Meaning that you have a lot of people making promises, but they're not really delivering. This is why you got this is how Donald Trump became president. And this is why a lot of these women are marching out here. Because Donald Trump bullshitted them. He ran game on them. He basically used a lot of showmanship and fascism and made a lot of promises, and he bait and switch on them. And what I've done over the years is I tapped in my spirituality. I use what some people call God force or sixth sense or critical thinking skills or spirituality. It's all relevant. In this way, I don't have to. No one can really. My job is to see the bullshit before it gets too close to me, or before I let it too close. Before I let it in my circle. That's my job, is to see and feel. I use my emotions and logic to know who's bullshitting and who's not, what's true and what's false. And go read a book called Discovering God by Dr. David Hawkins. The Discovery of God by Dr. David Hawkins talks about spirituality and how you can tell decipher truth from lies. And this is the same thing I started doing. And really, it's tapping into your intuition. That way, no one can ever really lie to me ever again. You know, every once in a while, there's always going to be someone that's slick. There's always going to be someone that has more skill than me, has a better skill set than you. But I don't let too much get past me. I see a lot of the bullshit before it gets too close to me, or before I let that person in my circle. So that's what I've done. So I don't really listen to a lot of what people say very often. I just use my intuition. That way, I won't have to worry about people like Donald Trump. But there's a lot of people out there like him that, you know, they basically use a lot of showmanship and fascism, and they spill out a lot of words, a lot of jargon that a lot of people don't understand until after the fact. And then this is why these women are marching out here. And then it's all game. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's all game. But a lot of women, they're so emotional and they focus on what they want, which is instant gratification, and they want whatever they want. I don't think it's equality. I doubt it. And plus, we live in a caste system. So what it is like a caste system is based on skin color. So, and it's like this in every place I've ever been. I've seen it. So basically, this caste system, it's like in the media, it's always the lighter shade of people, or the Caucasians. They're always out front. They're always campaigning or doing all the talking for everybody. And the darker shade of people are being disenfranchised, are being put on blast, or being lied. It's all lies being spilled all over the place. And it's every country I've been to, every single country, I've seen the same thing taking place. And the darker you are, the more at risk that you're being mistreated. However, there's also some things you can do as well to boost your status. Like, for example, when you go in the military, you can boost your status. And the only way you can boost, the only way you boost your status in the military, only reason that happens because you're a part of the status quo. And I didn't even know this until I went in the military. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know this shit really. I didn't know the details extensively that happens. So you boost your status through being in the military, or become a part of some Fortune 500 company. Maybe you might be a president or CEO or something like that. If you're a disenfranchised person, you can do that as well. But that comes with a price. That comes with some type of consequence sometimes. There's no free lunch out here. You don't just get something just because. So at some point, you're going to have to do something that's going to It's going to bother you. It's going to affect who you are as a person as far as your integrity goes. It's gonna happen. That's the thing. Once you become a part of these big institutions, or once you join the military or whatever, so you boost your status in society. But at what extent? That's the thing. And it varies from person to person as well. So you got one group of people in society that own and control all the resources and basically disenfranchise the darker shade of people in society. It ain't no love there. It can't be. Love can't exist in a society like that. I mean, if you think about this, how do people socialize at your job or at your church, or when you go to a restaurant? How do people engage and talk to you? Most, if you watch the waitress or the waiter, they don't approach everybody the same. They approach you based on who you are. In most cases, pay attention when you go to a restaurant. Next time you go to a restaurant, pay attention how the waiters address certain people that come through the door. Some people, they're very attentive towards the Caucasians versus non-white people. In most cases, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens a lot. So if you're a just working class black male walking through the door at some place, like at any restaurant, especially a high-end restaurant, your level of service is probably not going to be the same versus a Caucasian, that working class Caucasian. Now, if you're a celebrity, a non-white celebrity, okay, you might have the upper hand. You might get a little bit more extra service. But every black or non-white person is not a celebrity. You see what I'm saying? So you got a group of people. Whenever you have a group of people that have disenfranchised or basically enslaved the rest of people, because they've not only have they taken control of all the resources and access to resources from everybody else, they act like what's happened in the past and even up today, they act like it doesn't exist. And that's a part of the status quo. The status quo is to deflate and act like there's nothing going on. It's the bait and switch and act like we all love each other, like it's all good. So you cannot maintain, it's almost impossible to maintain healthy, productive, efficient, and effective and good relationships in society between males and females. Because between blacks and whites, the relationship between blacks and whites and how they interact with each other is always awkward. in most environments, especially jobs environments, because this is what happens. What it is you got. Let's take the Caucasians for a minute. You can have 2-3 Caucasians sit down by each other with totally different backgrounds. One family is from Scotland, the next family is from France, and the next family is from Ireland. But they don't know that until they decide to reveal their family history. But when the African person or the person of African descent walks in the room, it's a problem, because it's different cultures. And the Caucasians already know where the African people stem from just based on looking at them, because their skin is darker. But when it comes to the Caucasians, nobody really know where they came from. They can hide all day behind their skin color. And that's the problem with living in America. That's the problem right there. Because you got a group of people that tries to hide everything based on their skin color, and the rest of us, in most cases, all we have to do is look at them, and they already know that they're a person of either African or a person of African descent. That's the problem, my friend, right there. It's a competitive advantage that the Caucasian people have, and no one wants to deal with it. This is why you got people like Donald Trump. He does what he does, and no one really has a problem with it until after the fact. Because as long as these women were getting what they were getting, that's at least what they thought, they didn't have a problem with anything. But when something happens to somebody that's darker than them, they don't have a problem. You have people, black males, get shot in the back by cops, or get beat up, beat down, get burned, or churches get burned. Nobody has a problem with that until it happens to them. Now it's a problem. This is why there's no love out here. You cannot sit back and look at injustices amongst people and act like it doesn't happen. It doesn't work out like that. This is why I don't worry about people being disloyal to me or betraying me, because I don't really expect a lot from people today. I really don't, because number one, I don't really want to disappoint myself. And most people are lazy. That's the truth. And I expect a lot from myself, because I know I put in the time and I'm willing to put in the work. And when I get in relationships with people, I have friends all over the world, really. I know people all over the world, but I have a very tight-knit group of people. But I don't expect for them to put in the same amount of effort as me. I expect them to do very little. I mean, if they do whatever it is, hey, I'm grateful. But I don't expect for them to do anything. A lot of times they do, but I don't expect it. You know what I'm saying? And if they just do something that's disloyal, there's a good chance I knew they were capable of it anyway. Because I understand how men and women work in certain situations and in certain environments. And I understand how certain personalities do certain things. People's personality, they do certain things. Just like, if, for example, if someone talks a lot, there's a good chance if they get under a certain amount of pressure by a certain person at a certain time, and if they have that fear in them, they're liable to say and do any goddamn thing. I've seen it. I've seen that a couple of times. I've seen it in the military. I've seen it out of the military. I've seen people actually lie on themselves because they were so scared. You know, that it was so much fear built up within them. And there's not a lot of loyalty out here. And as a matter of fact, I look for loyalty more than love. To be honest, I don't necessarily have to be all lovey-dovey with every woman I meet. Really, because number one, love is different for most people. If you ask most people what's love to them, it's gonna be different based on how they were raised, where they were raised, and their experiences and all that bullshit. So that's why I don't get in all that shit. Cause I break it down like this: either you care about me, you like me, or you don't. See, if you care about me, it's going to be very difficult for you to fuck me over. That's how I see it. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to take a lot for somebody, if they really care about you, it's going to take a lot for them to fuck you over and betray you or be disloyal. And see, love for most people doesn't last very long. That's why I don't get into that. But if someone likes you and they care about you, that could last forever. I mean, love ain't got nothing to do with caring about somebody. That's why I separate the two. See, you gotta keep it simple. See, as a man, most men, especially men of power or rich men, they don't really get into the love aspect as much as the working class people do. I learned that over the past 20 years. The guys with power and money, or sometimes they have sometimes they have both power and money. Either or, they don't really get into the love aspect very much, and you know that usually takes years for them to get into that. But they approach their relationships like a business. Their whole life, they approach it like a business. And I've taken on that philosophy as well. And you should too. Your life should be like a business. The same way you go to your job and people come in to do business and you build relationships with people at your job, or the people that come in build relationships with the company you work for, or they build relationships with your supervisor, your manager, or whoever. You should run your life just like that too. Why not? You're worth it. Just because you're getting paid at your job and money's exchanging hand, you should put yourself in that same mind frame as well. You're worth it. You might not have no currency going back and forth between you and a woman, or man or woman, but in reality, if you decide to move in with this person or get married, you will have some currency between each other, because y'all have a contract when y'all get married. Some form of contract. It don't necessarily have to be between the state, but y'all gonna have a form of contract. So that's more of a reason why you should run your life like a business. It can't be all about how you feel and your emotions all the time. You have to be practical. And you have to use your God force, your God-given emotions, intuition, spirituality. It's already in you. Everything you have, all the answers, it's inside you. Nothing you hear in the mainstream media is going to help you. I'm sorry, Dr. Phil is not going to help you. Oprah is not going to help you. You already have all the answers. Now, what you can do is listen to older or wiser, or sometimes both, older or wiser people to point you in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to do the work. And that, my friend, is what most people either don't want to do or afraid to do. And you have to trust yourself. And most people are afraid to trust themselves. So what they'll do, they'll get a dog, or they'll have kids, and that's where most of their attention and most of their focus will go. And most people won't trust themselves. You know why? Because deep down, they know that either they think that they're not worth it, or they know they ain't shit. That's why they don't trust themselves. And that's why they don't think they're worth it, because they know at the core they ain't shit. But I don't believe that you're like that if you're still listening to me, because this video is kind of long. So trust yourself. Use your sixth sense, spirituality. Tap into that. Get out here and have some fun and enjoy yourself. So if you like what you heard, check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. Subscribe to my channel. Until next time, Sharp Game is out. Peace.